This is using cookies in PHP. In this screencast, I'm going to go through the three basic operations involving cookies in PHP: setting a cookie, reading a cookie, and clearing the contents of a cookie. I'm not going to cover cookie timeouts in this screencast. That's covered in the text and in the notes for the course. What my intention is for this screencast is to give you the most basic bare bones information pertaining to cookies so that you can get started. And the reason I'm doing this is because I've seen in the past students work with cookies in PHP for the first time, and it tends to be a significant stumbling block. And I want to show you just the basics to sort of tear out everything, including the HTML. I'm just going to use pure PHP code to do this, to make it as easy as possible for you to get started, and in hopes that once you get over the hump of being able to initially set a cookie, read a cookie, and clear a cookie, then you'll be able to go on and do the more advanced, sophisticated stuff involving cookie timeouts and nested values and all kinds of stuff like that. So we're going to keep it really, really simple for this one, and it's going to be hopefully quick and relatively painless. Okay, I'm in a text editor now, and like I said, I'm going to just use PHP code for this example. I'm not going to use anything, any HTML. I'm trying to strip out everything except just the HTML code here. So remember that a cookie is a little piece of information that's stored on the user's machine. And because it's stored on the user's machine, but it's sent from the web page or from the web server, there are a lot of restrictions on how cookies can be set. The size of a cookie has to be very small. You can only store small amounts of information in cookies. And the other thing is that you can only read a cookie or access a cookie that was set from the same machine that was sending the cookie out. So I can't set a cookie on example.com and expect that my other site, example2.com, will be able to read that cookie unless you resort to some hackery that we're not going to talk about today. But basically, a cookie is owned by the domain or by the web server that sends out the cookie, and that's another important thing to remember about the cookie. Okay, so in PHP, to set a cookie, you use the setCookie function, and setCookie takes two parameters, a key and a value. In this case, I'm going to set a key of my name, and then the value is the second parameter, and of course my name is Jeffrey. Now I'm going to go ahead and save this, and I'm going to call this set.php. And I'm working on a web server that's running locally on my computer, so I don't have to SFTP this anywhere. But before I do that, I'm going to create another script that I'll call get, that will retrieve the cookie and display it in the browser. So I'll create a new PHP file, and again, no HTML in this, just PHP. And I will set the value of this cookie to a variable. When you are retrieving cookies that have been set already, you use the cookie superglobal $_ all capital letters cookie. And because this is an array, an associative array actually, you will use square brackets and the name of the key. And if you see up here from my set cookie, the key is my name. Okay, and then I'll echo my name to the browser. This is all I'm looking to do today. I just want to set the cookie and then display the cookie, and if I can do those two things, then everything else should be pretty simple. So I'm going to save this. I'm going to call it get.php, saving it in my web directory. I will overwrite my practice version that I did a minute ago, and now I'm ready to test this. I'm going to test get first, even though I haven't actually run this yet. I'm going to launch a new browser window here, and I'll resize this because we don't need that much space. And I will reorganize my windows like so, so that you can see everything that's going on at once, and it will be beautiful. Okay, so we're going to get an error actually when we go to this get. So I'm going to go localhost get.php. This is going to retrieve the cookie, and you can see the error message that we get. It's saying undefined index my name in get line 3. Okay, so get line 3 is where we attempt to retrieve the value of this cookie and set it to this variable. But it hasn't been set yet. There is no cookie called my name on this machine. So we need to protect ourselves from the relatively common case when the cookie has not been set. So we can do this the same way that we've been doing this in the past, using if is set. Right? And I can even put an else in here and say, I don't know your name yet. Okay, really simple. So now this get script should work whether the cookie has been set or not. And since the cookie hasn't been set, it should say I don't know your name yet. So I'll go back to the browser and refresh. Oh, I see. So it says I don't know your name yet, but it also gets the error. And the reason is that the error up here isn't part of this. So let's try this. Let me explain this. I almost glossed over this, but basically the idea is we need to catch the error sooner, right? Because right here on line 3, I'm trying to read a cookie that doesn't exist, and PHP interprets this as accessing an element of an index in an array that doesn't exist. So let's try this a little differently. Let's change this to this, and we'll just bag the variable altogether. We don't need it. And I'll repeat myself here, but that's okay because we're just practicing here. Okay, so I'll save this again, refresh my page, and now it's beautiful. The cookie doesn't exist, and the get script recognizes this by saying I don't know your name yet. Okay, so let's set this now. I go back up to my set script, and the set script should work fine. So all I have to do is retrieve it, and I will change this like so, and now it's been set. Now it doesn't show anything in the browser because I didn't echo anything out up here, which was part of my intention. I could have gone placed a link or something like that, but in this case it's fine. And you can see when I go back to get, now it does show my name. Okay, so one last thing I'll do is to show how to clear the contents of a cookie. You may want to, on occasion, get rid of the contents of a cookie. And to do that, you use setCookie as well. There's no specific function that will let you delete a cookie. The reason why I show you this too for class is that you may find it helpful for testing purposes to be able to test what's going on with a cookie set and without the cookie set. And so the way you can unset the cookie is to say my name and then false. False just means no value, get rid of the contents, there's no value here. And so I'll go ahead and say delete del.php, save this in my web folder, and then I'll go back to deleting, and then I will go back to getting, and you should be able to see at this point now that the browser has forgotten the cookie. It has lost the data that was in the cookie because I deleted it by setting it to false. So those are the three basic operations: setting, reading, and clearing or deleting the contents of a cookie. There's obviously more to it than that, but those are the three basic operations. So if you're stuck on cookies, get these three operations working first, and once you get these three, the other ones should be a little bit easier.